Hello and welcome back to my channel, Craft Time by Casey. I am Casey, and today these are the 5 bracelets that I will be making, and most of the components came from Sam's bead box for the month of November 2022, and I am just so happy with how they came out. I think they could very easily be worn together, kind of stack them up, or worn separately. I love the beads in this month's box. And very specifically, the one in the center is the one that we are making in the video. So if you would like to see how these bracelets came about, then stay tuned. All right, so let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the tools that I will be using. I have 2 sets of chain nose pliers. I have 1 set of cutters, and I have 1 set of crimping pliers. I want to briefly mention my tool set here. I absolutely love my tool set. It is the Casual Comfort tool set, and I just highly recommend it. It is very high quality, very well made, and as the name suggests, they're just very comfortable to use. And one of the biggest things for me is that they have adult size grips. When I found this tool set, it was just a game changer for me. And even if you don't get this tool set, I just highly recommend investing in your tools. If you make jewelry, it can definitely be a game changer. So I will have these linked in the description box below, along with everything else in the video that did not come from the bead box. I am also going to be using 49 strand bead along wire in the color Bright, which is this silver color. And I usually get the 100 feet just because I go through it so quickly. And you could probably see the antique copper finish on the metal components that I will be using, but as you will see, you won't even be able to notice that the wire is silver. And I have already cut a strand of the wire. It's right at 12 inches long, just a little bit under. I will also have linked in the description box below my opening for Sam's bead box. That way it will have a detailed description of all of the beads that came in the box. The main beads for this strand will be these melon beads, and this faceted rondelle is a bead that came from my own stash. And these colorful spacer beads here that came in the box is another thing that I'll be using. And I will be using my 4mm pearl beads. I will also be using these flower bead caps. And then all of the findings came from my own stash. I have crimp covers, wire guardians, jump rings, crimp tubes, and I will be using a copper toggle clasp from my own stash. So here is how I'm going to start the strand. I put on a jump ring and a crimp tube and a wire guardian. Put it through one side, wrap it around, put it through the other. And you want to make sure that jump ring goes up in that wire guardian. I'm going to go ahead and pinch it closed with my fingers. And then I want to make sure both ends of that wire are inside that crimp tube. I'm going to pull on the longer end because that tail is just a bit too long. And then I know there's small parts, but I'm going to try to help you to see it. I'm going to make sure that wire is spread apart under that crimp tube just like that. And then I'm going to pull that longer one so it's nice and snug. I'm going to take my crimping pliers and go in on that second divot and give it a smash, and you get that taco shape. I'm going to turn it on its side. Go into that first divot, give it another smash, and that gets it okay. But I'm going to go in with that flat part on the end of my crimping pliers, and that gets it nice and snug. And I'm going to take that crimp cover, and I'm going to go and put it right over that smashed crimp tube, and then flip it up. I'm going to go in with my chain nose pliers, give it a gentle smash, and then I'm going to go front to back. Give it another gentle smash to give it that round shape. And that is how I begin each strand. And that crimp cover gives the illusion of the first bead. And so now it's simply the order of the beads. So I'm going to take one of the 4-point spacers, bead cap facing up, melon bead, bead cap facing down, and then I'm go to the other end and I want to make sure that tail gets tucked in correctly to all of the beads that we just added. Here we have the 4-point spacer and the melon bead surrounded by 2 bead caps. And we're going to do this 3 more times. All right, so here we have it. Now we are going to add a 4mm pearl and then the same bead cap, melon bead, bead cap. And now the center component is going to be a pearl bead, and then after the bead cap facing up, we're going to do this tan bead and the bead cap facing down. So here is one side, and this tan bead is going to be our center bead in this strand. So now we're going to create this exact same thing right here on this side, and then we will meet back up to close it up. All right, so here is the whole strand. So now we're going to close it off. I'm going to put on a crimp tube, a jump ring, and a wire guardian. Put it through one side, wrap it around, put it through the other. And you want to make sure that jump ring is up in the wire guardian, and then I'm going to pinch it closed with my fingers. And I'm going to make sure both ends of the wire go through that crimp tube. And I want to make that wire go through the first couple of beads. And now here's where you want to have that balance, because you want to pull on that tail and you want to make it pretty snug, but you definitely want your strand to have flexibility. So you want to make sure that it's not so snug that it can't move. I'm going to go in with my crimping pliers, give it a good smash into that second divot, get that taco shape, turn it on its side, go into that first divot, give it another smash, and that gets it good, but I don't like to settle for good. So I'm going to go in there with that flat part on the end and give it the final smash, and that makes it nice and snug. So I'm going to take it by the jump ring on this end, and I'm going to take that crimp cover and put it right on top of that smashed crimp tube, and then flip it up. I'm going to go in with my chain nose pliers, give it a gentle smash, and then I'm going to go front to back on that crimp cover. Make sure it has that round shape, just like that. And then I'm going to take my cutters, go in on that tail as close as I can, and then I'm going to take the bracelet and kind of shove that little bit into the next bead, just like that. And then there is the strand. It's started off and it's closed off. So now we have to add the clasp. So I'm going to take that jump ring on the end, open it, put on one end of the toggle clasp, close that jump ring, and go to the opposite side and put on the bar end, the other end of the toggle clasp, close the jump ring, and there is the bracelet. There you go, just like that. So now I want to show you other bracelets that I have made using Sam's bead box for this month. And I made them off camera, but the exact same method used to make this bracelet was used to make all 5 of them. I made 5 different bracelets, and like I said, exact same method. So here is the next one. And I'll hold it out like this so you can see the entire strand on the screen. And then, as you can see, started off the same way, same toggle clasp. And this one, I obviously used most of the pink beads, including those 3mm almost spacer beads from that came in the box. I think those are really cute, have that almost gold on them. And then pink rounds. And I absolutely love these bead caps. And they were listed in the bead box as bead caps. And I love the idea of them, just kind of colorful flower bead caps. And I think they go really, really well on this bracelet. And I did that same method all the way across, just a back and forth. And I think it turned out so nice. I think this one is really cute. So here is the second one. And all of these bracelets are about the same length. So I'll pull this down and you can see it here with inches. It comes out total to right at 8. But the idea for me is I try to get my bracelets at 7.5 inches, almost all of my bracelets, which is where this kind of ends up as a toggle clasp. Because of course, when you close a toggle clasp, they take up some of the space because they cross and go inside each other. So it's not the full 8 inches. And then of course you can see with the centimeters as well, it comes out to about 20.5 centimeters. And like I said, all of my bracelets are about the same length. And here is the next one. I really like this one. I like these flower beads that came in the bead box, and I like the variety of it. So it comes out as just a very colorful bracelet. I really like that. So again, same thing. I did use a different toggle clasp from my own stash. Of course, it went with the flowers and the kind of nature theme of this one. So I went with my nature toggle clasp, but it started off the same way. And I used my 4mm pearls and then a spacer bead from my own stash. And then all the way across. And then I have this center bead, this large faceted bead that also came in Sam's bead box this month with my flower bead cap around it. And then of course the same thing over here. And I like that this toggle clasp has a flower as the bar. And here is the next one. Of course, I use the same method to open the bracelet. And I also used my 4mm pearls, but these are 3mm rondelles from my own stash. Faceted rondelles. And then I used a back and forth between this oval bead and then the same round faceted bead. And then of course back and forth with my 3mm rondelle in between all the way across until I got to the other end and I had another 4mm pearl. And here is the last one that I made. And I did use a different style of toggle clasp for this one, but the same method. And for this one, I used 4mm bicones from my own stash. It's kind of a light purple color. And then this pretty awesome shaped bead from the bead box. It's like a 3-sided bead. It's really awesome. And then these rounded rectangle beads, of course with a bicone in between. And then I love these embossed heart shaped beads, of course embossed with that flower. And of course have the faceted round in the middle. Same thing over on this side with the bar of the toggle. So here it is. All right. So here they are. Here are the 5 bracelets that I made using Sam's bead box for the month of November 2022. And I'm very, very happy with how they came out. I love the color palette of this month's box. It definitely had kind of a pink tone to it, but it's a very subtle pink and I really enjoyed it. I really love these heart beads that have that flower in it and these oval shaped beads here. I just think the beads in Sam's bead box this month are very, very unique, very pretty. These bracelets are definitely stackable. They would go together. You could easily wear them separately as well. I'm very happy with how they came out. So if you like this video and you want to see other videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and give me a like. Leave a comment. I absolutely love reading my comments. You guys are so, so kind. And I definitely look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.